Hello. Hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome or welcome back. I am bringing you a currently inked review for the month of February. I have had an energy drink. Clearly it hasn't kicked in yet, but I am going to do the best I can and get through this. It's been an interesting month. I think that's the best way to put it. It's been interesting. So let's just get right to it. Now, if I did my job right, you're going to see close-ups of writing samples. Let's hope I did it right. I think I did it before. Let's see if lightning can strike twice. Alrighty. First is the Asvine P20. It's in some kind of blue color. I'm not sure what the exact color is because there were a few blues. I picked this up on, I don't remember if it was AliExpress or Amazon, but I got it, I think about 9 months ago, and it is currently inked with Pelikan 4001 turquoise. And this used to be my favorite. I used to love writing with this. And I wondered how I'd feel about it since my pens have gone up in price. And I still love it. I can feel the difference with this pen and some of the other favorites that I have, but it's not a big enough difference for me to not still enjoy writing with this pen. So it was a good experience. I'm glad I revisited it, and it can remain in my collection. It is a piston filler, and there's still quite a bit of ink in it. You can, from the ink window, it looks like there's still plenty of ink, which tells me there's probably still plenty of ink. So I'm not sure if I'm bringing it back for March. I haven't quite made up my mind, but it was definitely good for the month of February. I've enjoyed it. Next is my, my favorite. I got this a couple of months ago. It is the Leonardo MTO Zero in the Aloha colorway, and it is still currently inked with Pilot Aroshizuku Asagao, and I still love it. It has been such a reliable writer. It's been good right out of the box. I have absolutely no complaints. I love the nib. I don't know if you can see it well, but yes, I love this pen. I don't know if I'm bringing it back next month with a different ink, but I have no complaints about this pen. I love it. I love it. I love it. I have like a new best friend. But you can have more than one best friend, but definitely, I'm definitely a Leonardo fan now. Next is my Esterbrook SDE Glass, another one of my besties. I love this pen. It is still currently inked with Wrangle Wayfarer. I did not re-ink this pen this month. I've been re-inking it with Wayfarer for several months. I'd have to look back to see how many, but definitely more than, I would say, more than 4 months, maybe 5 months. The converter's about half full. And I love this combination. That's why I keep re-inking it. The first ink I put in here was Diamond Marine, and I loved that in here, even more than the Wayfarer, probably because it's a standard ink, the Diamond Marine, and Wayfarer has some shimmer in it, which you should be able to see that in the sample. There's shimmer and it does some shading too. I think there might be a sheen. Yeah, it's a nice ink. It doesn't perform poorly at all. I didn't have any problems with any hard starting or skipping, but the Marine, Diamond Marine, was a standard ink and it was just smoother. You could feel the difference, or at least I could. In this pen, it has a medium nib. Next is, this is funny, the Lamby Aluminum version in blue-green, and it is currently inked with Diamond Inkvent 2023 Velvet Emerald. I wrote this dry, and I was in the middle of a short writing session, and I ran out of ink. So I have a cartridge in here that I refilled, because I am just too frugal to go get a converter for a pen that I just like and don't love. I'm like, oh, I'll just do this. It's, you know, sustainable. It's fine. I put too much ink in it. I didn't mean to put so much ink in it. Oops. But I've enjoyed writing with it. I didn't mean to put so much ink in it, but I think I need to have a longer writing session and move on. I'm going to finish it up. And this pen has been hanging out with me since December, and it shall not be back in March. I'm ready to move on. I like it, but we're not in love. We're just, you know, second circle of friends. Up next is this tiny pen. It's so tiny. I have big hands, but look how tiny it is. It's like, oh my goodness. It is the Pelikan Adelstein 2022 pen / ink of the year, which is Appetite. This is my first Pelikan. It's got a medium nib. So I probably got a medium. Yeah, I did. And it's inked with the ink of the year, Appetite, and it's fine. It's been good writing experience. It was nice right out of the box. Only a quarter turn to uncap it, which is super nice. And I'll probably bring it back next month because I enjoy it. It's a piston filler. It doesn't hold as much because it's a tiny pen. It's almost pocket size to me. It's so small. But I haven't used very much ink in here. I've used about a quarter of the fill, maybe not quite, but we'll call it a quarter. And like I said, I love the color. It's kind of on the lighter side of the spectrum. It's kind of like a springy color in my head, but I like this color anyway. So as opposed to the more wintry version, which is Velvet Emerald. I'm bringing the pen back next month. We're gonna see if we can get through the ink with just my regular style of writing. Up next is the TWSBI Diamond 580 ALR in black. This pen was released in January, and it is currently inked with Sealer Ink Studio 683. I got this ink when I got the pen because I just wanted something different. This is a super juicy and wet writer. It's a broad nib, excuse me. So TWSBI broads, I tend to like them. And on this paper, which is Stalogy paper, it doesn't hold up as well with the really juicy pens, but it's fine in my my Hobonichi. So this ink, oh my goodness, this is so good. I loved this month. Just what I like, smooth and juicy and no hard starting, no skipping. I loved it. And it makes me feel kind of adult because it's just a black and clear demonstrator. And the ink color is not black, but it's a very dark, I guess, red purple. And I feel very adult when I use it. So it's gonna be back because I just loved it. Next is another TWSBI. Diamond 580 ALR in Sunset Yellow, and it is still currently inked with Waringal Heimdall, and I love this too. Very good writer. It has a stub nib. No complaints at all. I have nothing bad to say. It's been great. And I love writing with it, especially because it's a stub. You get that line variation. I love some line variation. Like, I feel so fancy with it. So yes, but on that note, I will be moving on. And moving on for me doesn't mean emptying the pen of ink and cleaning it out, typically. Moving on means I will put it to the side. I have a cup with pens that I liked writing with, enough to finish the ink, and then I ink up new pens for the following month. So I won't be cleaning it out, but it won't be back in my lineup for March. Next is my new bestie, Esterbrook SDE and Lilac. Can we just have a moment with the pen? I love it. I thought I would have to hunt and pray to get this pen into my collection. And Esterbrook decided to re-release it, and I was so happy. I love this. I love this pen. I got a broad nib because I have 2 mediums and I don't need another one. And I can always get a broad nib ground to something more interesting, but I like broads. And it's currently inked with 3 Oysters Purple Gray. And it bled a bit on the Nostalgia paper, but it was totally fine on the Hobonichi paper, which is Tomoe River paper. And I love it. I love this pen. I love it. I love the combination. I have no complaints about it, and it will be back. I don't know if we'll have the same ink in it, but the pen will definitely be back. I think I have other purples. I know I do, but something that kind of goes with it. I don't care if it matches or not. I don't care what ink I put in here as long as it's a good experience. There's plenty of ink still in here. The pen will be back regardless of what ink is in it. I'm bringing it back because this is just my happy color right here. This whole side, these teals and blues and blue greens and the purples, this is the outlier. Those are my colors, and yeah, if it writes good, you're gonna see it again, chances are. Speaking of which, this pen has been in the lineup since December. It is my TWSBI Diamond 580 in Iris. It's got a broad nib. It has been inked with Rainbow's End. And I did a partial refill. This has been inked since December. And it's the Diamond Inkfen ink for 2023. I love it. I love it. I have nothing to complain about with it, but I'm telling you, I'm getting tired of it. It's time to move along. But I'm setting it to the side, and I will finish up the ink because I love it, and I am not wasting it, and I don't feel right about putting it back in the bottle because to me, that's kind of like used ink. And once you've been writing with it and doing stuff, I don't want to like mix them up. So I don't know. It's just me. There's probably nothing wrong with it, but I'm not going to do it. Just ever so slightly paranoid and cautious about it. Another TWSBI. All these piston fillers. This is the Lilac Eco, which is currently inked with Diamond Inkfen 2023 Tranquility. And this is a shimmer ink. It shades nicely, as is Rainbow's End shimmer ink. And I have no complaints. I realized when I was writing, because like I said, it writes well, it doesn't skip, no hard starts, you know, it's handling the shimmer well. This one has a medium nib. I realized why I didn't reach for it as much. It's because the shade of purple with the other purples I have to choose from is not my favorite. If that was my only purple ink, I think I'd reach for it more. But since I prefer like the cooler tones of the purples, as opposed to this warmer purple, which is leaning a little bit more pink, that's why I wasn't reaching for it as much. But I am using up the ink, and you can still see that shimmer hanging out in there. Yeah, it's time to move on. It's doing well for medium nib. I know I hear people say that, you know, they buy TWSBIs with a medium nib or even a fine nib for shimmers, but I prefer it in a broad. I like to see more of it. And I wasn't thinking about that when I got this, but I didn't expect a problem. I didn't have one, but yeah, you can see the shimmer in the writing. Well, yeah, I'm ready to move along. Next is another throwback pen, Pilot Metropolitan, and it's currently inked with Pelikan 4001 Violet. And this one's got a 1.0 stub nib. And at some point toward the end of last year, I realized, even though I haven't spent much on any Pilot pens, their nibs are really good. I like a Pilot nib. I can go for it. I don't think I have had any suspect experiences with a Pilot nib. They've all been good, just right out of the box or out of the the plastic box, whatever it may be. They're all good. So this was good. I still enjoy this. It feels different than a TWSBI stub, and it's slightly smaller, which is cool, but I still like the line variation. I can't lie about that. But yeah, it was good. And I will, it's almost done. This has a sack that you squeeze to ink it. It's not like the kind of piston-y converter. It has this little sack thing. So you can't really see the ink in there, but once it's dry, I'm gonna clean it out and move on. At least I know I still enjoy the pen. And then I had a late addition. I decided that I did enjoy this pen, which was inked in December and January. It's a Jinh 9019 Didao. It's got a medium nib, and I liked it, but it was just a little bit too big to be comfortable for long writing sessions. But for short notes, like, or lists or something where you don't do like a lot of intense writing, it was good. So I found out that there was a slightly smaller version, the 9016, and you can see the difference here. I'll put them together. It's slightly smaller, same style. I was like, you know what, let me try that, but I'm gonna do something different. I always get like medium nibs with these Chinese pens because I think that's pretty much been the biggest I could get. But with this one, the 9016, this one entered my life, I think on the 8th or the 9th of February. I decided to get a Fude nib and try something new. This is the first time I've had anything like this on a fountain pen. And if you can see, the nib is bent. You can see that. I'm not too close. But this has been an interesting experience. It's currently inked with Diamond Ancient Copper, which is a nice combination. And I'm enjoying this. This pen will be in my rotation for March. And yeah, this has been different. I can't lie. So depending on the angle of how you write with it, I realize that you may have a wetter flow of ink and maybe a broader line versus a not so broad line and not quite so wet writer, but it's still wet, just not as wet. But I'm still playing with it. I haven't played with it that much. I did a writing sample with it, and I have not done any journaling just yet because I am behind. Shame on me. So, all this said, my top pens for the month have been, dun, 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 number 3. Was this one, the TWSBI Diamond 580. Oh, not 580, but Diamond. TWSBI 580, Diamond, and Iris, inked with Rainbow's End. I still love it. I'm just getting tired of the color of the ink, to be clear. And there's not as much shimmer left in here, which is fine. I like the base color, so I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, I'm ready to go, ready to move on, but it's been really good. Really, really good. Second would be the Lilac SD with inked with the 3 oysters, black, purple, gray. Totally love this. Totally love this. Oh my goodness. It's been a very wet writer. I think I want to try that ink at some point in a medium nib and see how it does. Because in here, it's very, very juicy. And I love looking at this pen. I do. Number 1 was a surprise to me. I thought I would be the SD, but it was actually the TWSBI. With this ink, the Sailor Ink Studio 683, and this TWSBI with a broad nib. Oh my goodness, I love writing with this. I love writing with this so much. So much. I'm looking forward to writing with it more. And this is going to be around next month. 2 of these 3 pens will definitely be back next month. And on, I won't call it a sour note, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, my least favorite combination, you could probably guess, was this. The TSBY Eco in Lilac, inked with Diamond Ink Vents, 2023's Rainbows, not Rainbows End, Tranquility. I'm just swirling it to mix in the shimmer. And the reason it was at the bottom of the list was just purely because of the color. It's just with cool purple inks. This ink was just not something that I reached for. And I'm pretty sure that if I had other colors than 2 other purples, I would have been reaching for this more. But I have no complaints about how it wrote. It was great. It was purely just the color. I did not reach for it as much as I would have, but I am getting through it. I still have about, I think, half a fill. Yep, I'm halfway there. I will finish it up with my random writings as I go on through the days, and hopefully not too many weeks. And then I will clean the pen out once I've used up most, if not all, of the ink. But that's it. That has been my currently inked, and it's been a good month. Nothing really surprising, but it was enlightening to me to realize why I was not reaching for this pen. And yeah, I think I kind of surprised myself when I used up this, because I wasn't quite reaching for it either. It wasn't bad in any way. There were no hard starts. It worked well. It just wasn't quite as wet as I like. While this was wet just fine, the color wasn't drawing me to the pen. This color I love. It was slightly dry, but I didn't mind the dryness. I mean, slightly dry by my standards. Yours and mine could be different. I wouldn't call it just straight up dry. This is terrible. Why would I want to use this? Just, I like my writing to be a little wet. I like it definitely on the juicy side. And this was not that, but I love the color. So I used it up, and I didn't even realize I used it up. And now I got to keep writing with it because that's just the way my brain works. But yeah, otherwise, I'm telling y'all, this has been a good month. And I am going to miss looking at these colors, because it looks like a plan, but it totally wasn't a plan. It just kind of worked out that way because I just picked the pens that really were speaking to me, and I realized I am really drawn to these colors, the blues, the greens, the teals, the purples. Those are my jam. And I really like this gold, especially in winter. I'm really a fan of gold in the winter, so I have 2 of those now. This one's inked with Ancient Copper. The TWSBI's inked with Heimdall. And yeah, it's been a good month. I have nothing really to complain about. Nothing was terrible. Nothing was like, oh my gosh, I can't do it, like I had in December. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me and talking pens and inks. And let me know how your month is going down in the comments if there's something that you've really loved, so I can try that, because y'all, I have a real list going. And I'm feeling the need to place an order for some samples so I can bring a couple of bottles into my life. Have an awesome day. Bye.